Alright, hello again, it's me, Darien Phimmasane of Failure Family. I wanted to put something there, and I'm hearing I'm gonna be talking about the different color forms and how that auditoria of number 7 and that order of that. But here's a quick directional thing of the concern on that body right there, the appearance of 7, and how words help people understand their molestive, exploitive existence, and how those things are not really there. So, as you can see, that bit was taken right there, so we're going to have to do a review and a security report for strange behavior and things like that. And any sort of medium that talks in any kind of illustration is going to be looked at. So, but let's just... Alright, the point isn't really to look at me. So let's do the order of this up. Alright, if you really need to remember what I look like, it's just kind of having to do this ad very quickly. I like this because it's directional, and then I will look better for the decent time, but it's best just to get this because the slideshows do help. And I don't even like it when they show the video box thing. So this is a video based on Sabatoge. So we're gonna go back here, or I guess that, but it's like I can't show the posture and how I would want to put that, so no, this is fine. It'll be modified later. So this is Sabatoge, and it's about what sleep mode is, why it's a red alert, and why this is considered a security breach. Alright, so pretty much my mother had given me a message on something about the drywall, and then we had some tampering. So we'll read it, and then we'll go and discuss what happened. At not asking for assistance, whether the words contrived to the character's energy and the intent to take an action. From said person getting back from Mexico to asking to help was a bit over ideal. So, and not asking for assistance, whether the words contrived to the character's energy and intent to take an action. And yeah, I look horrible, and I swear I can look good, and if I say it right, I'll shut up. Anyways, a character, stepfather, beast, number 4, had chosen Via, with Phoenix, number 3, mother, to ask if they could work on the drywall. She had replied facetiously with around 2 on the prior week. I sent a message to grandfather in concern, where I had accidentally put their number as 4, which I had changed their number to 8, but the highest elder that I have, I usually go by 10, to see if he is interested in helping. The order of the information available prior on Failure Family YouTube and the momentum of the action are suspicious. I had videos of cutting the drywall, the specific spots of the D3 wood block in that area, and whether in sort of a quirk, whether to fulfill that. Nah, it is weird. It was taken off right away. The screws on the extra one were not taken off in consideration to doing that. The rate The rate at the action, even in the suggestive typing to me, is in no discussion or provision with entity number 6 have been declared as a party later in the story, who will branch off into the water coach. Objects: stapler, ladder, wood block, drywall. Here are, if this had a title, it would be something like color, correlation, residue. Number 1 has spinning white omni, an overlay 360 spinning continuum. Swan is a gray-white faint. I have the respect to frail and denote by class and authority. Number 3, with a bit of red, gray, white, red. Number 3, all festering, orange and yellow, aligned with number 3. Number 5, Beast's signature is red and black with pudding. Number 6, blue with a white keep and a physical counter of black. Number 7, orange to brown, then pudding in frivolous canary. Then, seven is a whole new thing. The multiples of, well, when we can raise the alarm on the multiple if necessary later on. Number 4, red, then accent orange. So number 4 on this one was a number switch to number 10, which I had put on that, where I had put myself as number 9, gray and colorless. I had lost my colors, so I had either switched with who can be 9, gray and colorless, and I had lost my green and dark green and brown ability, which, not great. Later in that day, all parties present. Later in that day, all parties present, these specific D3 and walling had tampered material wool and wall, seen in previous video, with distinct denotions towards those specific things, such as drywall cut tutorial. True, it was a bit damaged. Did anyone want to see Beast in Mexico? No. It said where train or letter, it should have been letter, but it says number train, had medium with me in sleep mode through what I guess is just itself, with hot sauce and tortilla. Where later on we can talk about where the medium of that goes, but we can't do that at a point of invasion or anything like that. Mother disenfranchised her belief on her constant putting action with grandfather, had comedy to bring her over to dispute. Choice. Sprinkler. In medium, my reiteration to myself was example of reverse spoken identity to the specifics of a stringent line of unnecessary self-worth, non-consensual control. Anagram. So that's later going to be talked about as anagram, putting a note over that anagram. Later on, the energy residues of harassed grandfather. Number 4 at 10, who is described as 8 from their location to mine. Later concerns of character and consent had me, number 9, in that choice of action as a service from that provider if material wool was the preferred selection from number 4. Number 4, who is actually the other one. Where number 9 said that was fine, number 4 will be paid back $160. Crimes: tampering with D3 would block. Number 3, number 5. Initiating travel. Number 3. Disturbing someone in sleep mode. I felt it was 2 number 9 and 2 number 8. Number 9 for being sick and at low health, and in conjunction with shrimp had caused a fusion, which is later talked in the control room. Attempting to take over a project. Number 5. Disputing the put on of off not on switching, paracording the what is being present and turned to safe deceit as intel, putting subject in the idea of it's safe, facilitated in a combat color. Attempting to take over project ING. I mean, everybody has been attempting ING, and the measures of what that is to something is a bit much. Attempting and touching number 9 in number 8's area. So the segment that you see that I was in right now, to that. Suggesting false confidence and need with follow-up. Leaving the possibility of the attempt of sleep area. Leaving the idea of doing that. In control, I'm saying 6 being facilitated by who's assumed at 9, who is being challenged for me, and you can kind of see where I get those numbers from that. And later on the dispute of number 7, challenging that, I will put the frequencies of the audio on the video on the challenge of somebody claiming that they are not the one doing that. Which 7 has not said anything, and we're going to call people who have been in contact with him on his life. I know that past 30 he did not get his own house, or I think it was a bit past that time. So that's kind of where we had to use the technique 24, which is, it's not old news, because if I get to that section and then I get to the pass on that save, the density right there, and if I can get into that defense stance, then it's worth it, even though I can't achieve it. Being present and turning to safe deceit. I'd say number 5 does that, number 6 does that, number 1 does that, and then I'd say a lot of people, I say myself, does that. Soliciting tenacious behavior. Number 3. Paracording. Number 5 and number 7. If you're putting yourself somewhere to infraction what you're doing, that's something you're not going to catch my number doing. Facetedness. Number 3, number 9, swan. Even swan as there's an argument of the brown of the sub-Republican one that pushes my body on purple being present. But this is a story about how somebody is presenting themselves in my day. These are the consented and follow-ups. No person will be at base without me there at all times if working on a project. No surprise visits will be allowed. If it will be followed up by the recorded date later on when cameras are installed by that security. Neighbors have called the police by just seeing this vehicle. Why would a neighbor call the police? Because this area is crap and we only need one person to be out of here in that direction, that we haven't had that stationary problem, that the ancient algorithm of the 436 had caused problems to bring it to that area, that 436 had a draw on a Manhattan sub-Republican purple on that area to be on the overkeep of the 33 at that point. No one is allowed to work on side that is sleep dwelling area except number 8 and number 9, where number 8 was seized by character that we call Blue Eyes White Dragon, which has an accessible, it must be like a sensory transferring the HP server where that character had got something return. Consequences are and can be to case manager and can be to law if I catch you, and will be recorded on the responsibility. I've had a lot of issues on exactly what is being put in front of me, where something is passed and there's nothing else that could exist. I'm never wanting to put myself in a situation like that, but it seems like there's not much else there's really to work with. Like a Trojan horse of BS and wins in fights not fought and no shows. So these parties closest to this position in the center to causing these things is that when I'm upset, number 9 to number 1, and I see something that I see in the overlays of the injustice, then I realize in that concern to the disdain of what I would not be able to do on that attempt on that body, then improving my level up is the best thing to do. Collaboration. When number 5 arrived at my house, I did notice that when I was checking the duck fridge that it had chosen to stop. It could be a collaborative with G, the fridge type, with the dial to 9, and the on and off with settings 5, giving some insight at the time, focus, invasion of privacy, and intel, which is and has been obvious. Our team leader, non-executable boss passing energy of other characters, which she does all the time. Our small-knit community is hardly even at bringing those terms together, and it is only getting worse. Why? Because who knows? Unitary self-confirmation, invasions of space and mind. So, I'm gonna go in India mode. And I'm sorry that I watched it. I heard I couldn't watch it, but that is probably not. It's not to the point of that was what I was saying. Later on, there's another part where Tron has different faces that it can help express through the Tron bot, which is smiling, that it can gesture smiles, like in openness, a blank state, which is a device that I've been trying to collaborate with, except it's tough. So I'm gonna write the next part and do my best India impression of my actual intelligence to show that I have some skills in intelligence. So the collaborations on the previous is small in the community seems. Why? Because this invasion of space. It's because I was just about to write something and then I had already forgotten it. The red alert, sleep mode, the collaborative of my house on that, and yeah, that's not good that there is some sort of restraint to thinking that. So let's look at this again and remember what the object of what we were hoping to figure. Unfortunately, the hits on the psychoanalytical is so bad, and like I said, when that whole blindness effect from the AED and then the drag of that, it's made some of our body not able to function. It's a bit too in sync with the trauma. There are some obvious things on the accent of the existence of somebody in the exceptions of what somebody bodies on the responsibility of Brown, who had already put something there in prior before that, to put that, to take things that were collaborative in body, which were put on this as letters in throughout. Seven's identity was later revealed, and it was easy to find the whereabouts of this one. 7/14/2856, which is what was used on that, on a density precaution to protect everything that is in the main numbers, which all the people for that in an invasion on a 1 to 10 would and were going to be switched out. Some of the bad things that are happening are... Oh, so it was about Battle of the Sand. Okay. Battle of the Sand is attempted macro Pokeball capture, if you will, whatever. Pokeball capture, that's like what somebody would write. Anyways, then it was defined by creating one of the characters, Agamemnon, and that was used there, where in this battle to put that where artifacts were taken out on the placement by the Egyptian mythology, where 7 gets... Every number from 1 to 10 gets the opportunity to succeed. Number 7 gets the opportunity to hit the Odyssey. Things that have helped this happen are a elephant tattoo. So, when Agamemnon, who in the Battle of Sands is 10, is there, then we will put this and we will attempt a canary where orange, or set 3 in this position, 3 gets number 7 trigger, where I accidentally body like a sickly creature. So when those go by that, then trigger can be the white lightning. Origin first letter. Non-chronological origin. Coincidences. The greatest threat is that we have contamination of Tron and a software. I had explained in the Tron video what is the existence of software that is attached to the body. I've never seen anything like that. The only time I've ever heard anybody ever say something like that is this is the first person that is a cyborg and continuum, with the off difference of duality for sure creating this. So Battle of the Sand here is yellow. So look at that. That's a guild right there. So yellow. So we go to the Battle of the Sand and it's yellow. It's easy. It's my job. You know, somebody takes a piss and then they think something of it and then they body their respect from a servant. And it can activate the wet lightning. I like that it's cool like that. Non-chronological origin coincidences. The example is Purple, who appears in the still of some coincidental items. Anyways, the purple and the coincidental items of things that you say that is to something. Printer 8. Let's talk about Printer 8. So somebody is in this thing that they continue to think that they are something and they are wrong. And it is the real time, and you're a real piss off to be giving me a problem and having to solve something like this. So pretty much what's gonna happen is I'm gonna put that over there and then have this happen and then have to activate like a fantasy of what the bad robot is gonna do to the scalping of my this area. And anyways, there's like a lot of bad effects from this. There's another, it's really difficult to come to the consistency of where the things are captured, but who knows. I'm not gonna continue if said demands are not met, and we'll go from there. So that the constellation of what was necessary for Purple to be animate in Yellow's life is that it took like a lot of example to the inconsideration of when Purple and Yellow come into contact. So those twins align very hard, and there's a lot of energy that doesn't accrue to the head bunt, which is a celestial happening. There are a few things from the Charlie's Angels that have a lot of presence, such as 8's continuous spell, which she can cast to create the distance of a separation. So when something is like, she's at this like, there's a part of the connection of what something is. You know, the one that I'm really concerned about is 7. This mess. This just crazy person. My goodness. Every time that I've tested this with 7 on the field, which if they're participating in the field, they will operate in control room, that they leave the area by considering crazy, because it's kind of like a fear, which I would be feared to be called myself. Because Tron, I swear, if you look at Tron, it looks like... Wow, let's see. It looks like Bitron. It looks like this. That's as far as I... If I look at this thing, then I'm getting hit with a push and a pull. That's what it feels like at this point. This is one of the cards in the Yu-Gi-Oh block that I've adapted to, or that I would have to adapt to. It's interesting. Okay. All interpretations and anything are added now. So the best play that I see, and if Agamemnon takes his steward, so there's a steward. Okay. So they have the steward, and then we have a housekeeper. Then, even smaller, is our nephew. Then, let's go back here. At the Battle of the Sands, the meeting. We have the meeting, or the meet, where the Vikings, we can give you some pointers right there. The Vikings, the Vikings meet Greece, and Troy, okay, and the Trojans. Or was it Greece from Sparta? Because what I would want is the Vikings right there, where they meet Greece, which is Agamemnon, on the fault at Troy, where Greece is Agamemnon's looking for their daughter in the Troy's land, which is not theirs, and then lost. And then the Trojans are that of the device of what would be sent down from the future of the historian Ba. That's the goal. And then I wanted to put my body. I want my energy transfer to be here and have no ticks. It has a lot of ticks. Later explained in the field of the vampire kingdom. Have I almost broken any laws on any sort of case manager? Or any fields that would have to be like that. So we have some putting things here. I have evidence on a feeling on the sensory fatty acids in the nape collecting information. So that's the agree of what that is. I mean, I don't got any fat on my thing. I barely only have like some leoin on that my neck to this part right here, but the bone has it to where there's the jut with about a sickle neck. Got a sickle neck. I've seen how a lot of things distill the creation of the Mach 5 spin, which I feel is really interpreted by artists often. The most one that I've seen is Zabuza. So the Mach 5 spin is hopefully can be slowed down by slowing down a speed of what you do. Well, I hate that there's fulfillment of what I said, and that's not what I need. If you were to say anything in the whatever you would say of it, and you would not take this, but we have a lot of areas that I have concern of where there could have been muscles and things growing that we could be a threat to Home Depot itself, or that we do get alarmed as that one of those in the other set, which is not an appropriate set to list right now. So that's all that is. So it's like I have to create this world where I palette a conversion of a paletter that filters something in a conversion that keeps all the credentials. Now you have to listen. Take your time to listen. I know that you think that you're whatever you think you are, but I did get a response from 7, and 7 is spewing their information. They're talking back, and some of these characters need to be fixed. I'll be making contact with most of those ones when I can. When I get the present to said person, the physical barrier, the security on the transfer of both those ideas from me 9 to said person that is 4 or 8 on there until I am able to craft something to take its place. So on the cut of 48 right there, that creates 56, has a curvature on the number 69 where they take that, and then if I run the chain of 7, 14, 28, 56 on that, it bodies another hit towards its self hit where it gets a directional. It's not just to the point of that person who decides to choose that, but they decided to choose that they were not going to make a response, and I cannot advance on my defense tactic, and I'm going to have an excursion of somebody doing a wound tactic on me where I have to get the field control at about 5 paces at the backwards degree, where I do think that Padnos had made a collaboration with Canon to give camera access prior, or that Home Depot had made a wrapped text of the information technology at that point, at that location, via that. And then I'm going to have to set my cards there to see if gray-white takes the spin. So when I print something, I would always say something and I would know somebody was tracking me. So I'd say something stupid for the continuum. And then at the same time, things for what those hits are. So it's important for us to make content, because if those don't get there, then we don't get those hits. And it pretty much is that slow. So would you take the transfer for whatever that is, body that into the water, in the water, the body of water, what somebody is to themselves, in where you have invaded somebody? So it's annoying that the the attempt of the conversion is an overlay of somebody else's skin from Darien. Darien. How do you spell Darien? Okay. I was supposed to do a test where I was to type my name. Okay, so typed it. Let's see if we can do the other effect that I need. Okay, it's just gonna say it like that. It doesn't like it right there. So Darien, that's a name. So we're playing anagram for a second. It's okay, you can go to bed. We typed it really quick and we got Charlie's, which is not good. So we changed this to Charles, and we're gonna print orange. So orange is pretty much in the body of this one at the Battle of the Sand, as the coward is in Troy. So it was easy to put that in the body of this story. And then we have the elephant tattoo. The only person that I know who is pathetic enough to actually do something for somebody like that is Orange. I think Orange is a primary suspect versus 7 for the elephant tattoo. Now, let's look at some of these tamperings. And on the body of the switch, on somebody pressuring their face on a white attempt, then I was gonna access, unimportantly, 25 to the body. So then I'm gonna give a signature to each of these ones. Stargirl, 25. Little Megan Fox. Inner Circle, Valkyrie. What is another good one? Squiggly's alphabet story of this was one that I've been questioning. Does anybody know the whereabouts of this person? Failure family short. I've been getting the draw and the drag of it intentionally trying to do that. I'm seeing correlations to what this is right here. 7 has said things like this with his voice, like Pepe Grillo, this, whatever. That's their art style, sort of. Bro, I've had to create a success story for you. I don't care about you this much. You have failed at completing your puzzle. You have not solved your puzzle, and you are not welcome just to say stuff like this. You're lucky that I'm fixing your shit. You owe me a message back versus whatever you are saying right now. 2022 to 27. That one was a bit too mean on the hard pressure of that. And I do watch shows. I wanted to make a point of just a few of those things, and these ones are not really. This thing is really good because what's canon and interesting is presented. That it's great, but that insight of what you find celestial in information technology is not bound to the human experience of an all being at human and what is entitled with that. I think the algorithm of the short failure family has set you off because your Etsy got docked for some reason and it did not even make sense. Not that like it was that good, but it was strange. That's all I have to say for this one. Aren't you pretty upset? Aren't you pretty pissed off? Don't you feel this frustration with me? I know I don't speak a lot, but if you were to try to pry the selected mucus of my mouth, then I can't close whatever that is, even though what I think it is a manifest of something that doesn't get a lot of rights. I could see myself being that the time frame of information aligned to the red cave of my left eye being okay. I guess we have to run a different bit of experiments and have the index cards later on, and you'll see that every part is segmented and organized in archives of what is separate, so that it comes together. Else it seems like it's all scrambled and all jumbled, undefined meta, which will be improved. So is there any way that you will acknowledge your existence via your ability with the ticking? Let's see, I have another method to this. So let's see if I can kinda. So I'm gonna be looking, so you could look at the chart on this one, and then I'm going to be looking at the microphone that is on there. Just say anything, whether we're concerned about the heart AED. Well, you just gotta use the one that's right there. I know that a moment can communicate with another as an idle presence of where these this mode is activated, because if I move my hand right here, I can tickle the back of my neck from right here. So there must be an emergency call somewhere, or that we are in red state. That's all for now. I thought that added some flavor. I mean, if we put our hands down, then we get drawn to the white presence, where the presence can melt myself right there. Is there anything real that we can do, that can happen? If Staten Island put my phone on hold when I got it from eBay, then how? Blue is an idiot. I can either create him to be green, formation, and brown. But you have to run yourself. You're pissing me off right now. We had a stubber who lied about 33 years of work experience. You know that you are not in charge of your own overseer of that position anymore. So somebody is in a timeout, so we're gonna go right back here. A Nissan Pathfinder. What is that associated to? A Nissan Pathfinder. Let's say that I'm running a technique that makes it so things are not about things. So we're gonna take car vehicles, put those in location, and hey, throw in my own car. It has nothing to do with anything, just cars. Like the Billie Eilish, that one song, the music video. So we have this idea of what we think of the cars, and then bam, all of those ideas are gone. We have contamination of like a ringing a bit. It could be residue of what we hear about this, but we have mountain causing some issues at the volcano, magma volcano. I had seen this entity appear at set 28, and that can be wrapped in a 28. Would love you to face value that. But he got scared, and he don't act out at the 28 other location anymore. But he thinks that he does that now. So you see how I know a lot of the things on the chessboard as the king to do that, and then I move my arm and I get this in return. I get that you want to pretend to be 7. So no thank you. You're not gonna be put onto my masterclass board for your gestures. If you just keep reiterating the body of something on the mutt of it, continue putting, and yeah, you will be tried. If you are saying that in body of what is a red mode or sleep mode, that you're indicating something as your body outside of my body or in anything that you are doing, then why would you not say who you are? Okay, that's pretty much all I want for that one. And every time I try to hit this with a hammer, and every time that judgment. And it's wrapping, I guess. Some wrapping that has been up there. So yeah, I think there's frequency residue. So how do you get rid of frequency residue? Man, I'm getting tired, and I can't hear ringing in my ear like this. I don't, you think that you can discredit a high frequency in my ear? It's in my ear. I can hear it. I can record this, and it's still exactly like that. If you choose to make a selection on what mediums you don't choose via whatever selective mutism that this Honeywell project decided to go, I hope it's a 1997 prior project. Alright. When is this thing gonna be off my neck? Does it have to do with my sickle? I mean, I have to at least, like, show some part of my body, dude. Like, some kind of professional. Like, it don't look perfect, and I could see why it would be like that. But I swear, if I do this, even if it's off-putting, that in potential, that if I really tried, it could be like that. But Arnold's friend, 10,000 Leagues, his evil, correct friend. Alright, the end. I don't have enough merit to go against those, or those kinds of people. I always try, and I'm not there yet. I can't believe I am 24 in a month. I'll be 25, and that's cool with me. Alright, I know that was weird to end like this, but man, I feel horrible. I feel like I don't want this thing to mess. And wow, that's gross. I'm gonna clean myself up, and I gotta put some clothes on. Ending with, I like to hang out with that set thing. It could be ghost snails. I don't think that it's like a concern of something feeling that I'm endangering it living by a coin build. But we're gonna end that segment of what happened, and then if I can't eschew because of neck filtration or whatever, and the bandwidth, and if I look at the Xfinity modem, it saps what I'm thinking, so I can't think properly or function properly all the time. And it's like every time I'm trying to cooperate with a good plane of businesses, it's like, man, can't believe it. Wow, it's like I wouldn't find me on the off switch of my plural self aristocrat Republican to be turned into filth. Excuse my language. So getting those to abide, getting the fuel control, taking those items out, putting the colors, getting the correct chain on the control. People can't know that I help, because if the ING changes in sleep mode, then I take a loss. And all the things that eventually to the root would be like, hey, no way I can help you except, waiting some time or whatever, then that's that. Well, it's very intensive of what I feel Bit is doing, even though we hang out like every weekday. I'm taking that robustness, creating new relations at different decibels, taking that out, switching the fantasy world, and bringing that to life. Finding myself out of jealousy. March 25, I won't be able to have children. Not that I've been active in anything like that, so that's good for myself. But after the decision, I felt really sick. I already felt like I had got the incision. I didn't feel great. And I kept saying some weird stuff, and it's not that I don't always say weird stuff. Something what is holding the body of what is being said doesn't represent a state of being at peace. So running a continuum bass ramp on my neck, it's getting pinged with a device, was a person, even who commits a crime, is still the entity of that body, of what happened to them all the way to that point until proven guilty, and still at that they existed at that part no matter what as single entities. They're all circled. It's not like that person's not anything. That somebody thinks that they're the Justicar or exemplar of those things is out of place. It's difficult to find it where it would be the information that they needed, but that's okay. I guess that's alright, the end.